The aroma of fresh coffee and bacon frying filled the cozy atmosphere of the Route 78 diner, a haven for travelers and locals in a small village in rural Georgia. The hushed conversations and the sound of the kitchen bell in the background gave a sense of normality until something unexpected began to change the air in the place. What could shatter this peaceful scene? Stay tuned to Black Voices to find out. In the corner of the restaurant, sitting by the window, was Malik Johnson, a young black man of 16, wearing a faded gray sweatshirt and simple jeans. He looked like just another kid trying to enjoy a quiet moment, but no one there knew what Malik was really capable of. Malik was much more than he seemed. Despite his medium height and calm expression, he was a former member of the Army Cadet program, where he had spent years learning not only combat techniques but also discipline, leadership, and empathy. His silver badge, pinned discreetly to the pocket of his sweatshirt, was the only clue to his rigorous training and determination. He had dedicated much of his life to helping children in the neighborhood find direction and purpose, avoiding the grim fate that many young people faced. Can this unassuming teen stand up to danger? Keep watching Black Voices for a story of courage you won't believe. As Malik sipped his soda and ate a simple plate of fries, the bell on the restaurant door rang, and a heavy silence filled the place. 5 burly men entered, their heavy boots echoing on the wooden floor. Each wore leather jackets adorned with emblems of the Iron Claws gang, known for spreading fear and chaos wherever they went. The leader, a tall man with a striking scar on his face, had a cold, defiant stare, as if he were looking for his next victim. The group immediately attracted attention. Some customers bowed their heads, others hurried to finish their meals. Even Ruby, the friendly middle-aged waitress who had been working there for over 20 years, seemed tense. Malik, however, remained calm, watching the reflection of the men in the window glass. "Look at this little farmhouse," commented the gang leader, whose name was Travis Cole. His voice carried an arrogance and contempt that made the whole restaurant cringe. "I think we can have some fun here, don't you, boys?" The others laughed, while one of them, a man with a skull tattoo on his neck, deliberately knocked over the coffee of a customer at a nearby table. "Oops," he scoffed, not even trying to hide his provocation. "I think you're going to need more coffee." The tension was palpable. Ruby tried to remain calm as she approached to take their order, but her hands were visibly shaking. The men ignored her, focusing on their next target, a young mother with 2 small children at a nearby table. One of the children started crying when she saw the leader approaching. "Hey, easy there, little guy, don't cry. Mommy's going to protect you, right?" said Travis with a mischievous grin, while his companions laughed. Malik finally looked up. He knew he had to intervene, not just because it was the right thing to do, but because he knew that if no one stood up to them, the situation could quickly get out of hand. "Leave them alone," said Malik, his voice firm but controlled. The whole restaurant fell silent. All eyes turned to the seemingly fragile boy in the corner. Travis laughed out loud, as if Malik's intervention was a joke. "And who are you to tell me what to do, kid?" he teased, walking towards Malik's desk. "Some kind of hero?" Malik remained seated, showing no fear. He placed the glass of soda on the table and stood up slowly, his movements calculated and precise. "I'm just saying that you should think twice before bothering the wrong people," Malik replied, with a slight smile on his face but his eyes fixed on Travis. The other gang members surrounded Malik, forming a semicircle around him. One of them, the man with the skull tattoo, was the first to act, trying to grab Malik by the arm. But in one swift, fluid movement, Malik sidestepped, spinning around and knocking the man to the ground with a dry blow. The sound of the impact echoed through the restaurant, leaving everyone stunned. "I don't think you got the message," said Malik, now in a defensive position, while Travis and the other 2 members advanced at the same time. The ensuing confrontation was fast and brutal. Malik used his agility and training to dodge punches, block attacks, and counterattack with surgical precision. One of the men tried to grab him from behind, but Malik spun his body around, hitting him in the stomach with an elbow before knocking him down with a kick. Another tried to intimidate him with an uncoordinated punch, but Malik dodged and responded with a direct blow to the ribs, leaving him breathless. The restaurant was in shock. Ruby held the tray tightly, the customers were frozen in their seats, and even Travis, the leader, began to hesitate. Malik had the upper hand, but he knew he couldn't let his guard down. He faced Travis directly. "Do you still want to continue?" Malik asked, his breathing calm despite the intense confrontation. Travis hesitated for a moment, his face red with anger and humiliation. But before he could answer, the sound of sirens in the distance drew everyone's attention. The police were on their way. With a grunt of frustration, Travis pointed his finger at Malik and growled, "This isn't over, kid. We're coming back to teach you a lesson." "Only if you're dumb enough to try again," Malik replied, with a confident smile. Travis and his gang quickly retreated, leaving the restaurant, while the customers applauded in relief and admiration. Malik, however, just went back to his table, picked up his glass of soda, and finished drinking it calmly, as if nothing had happened. After the bikers left, the restaurant slowly resumed its routine, but the impact of what had just happened still hung in the air. Customers approached Malik, thanking him and praising his courage. Ruby, the waitress, brought him a piece of pie and placed it on his table. "That's on the house, kid. You saved us today," she said, with a genuine smile. Malik thanked her but didn't seem to be looking for recognition. For him, helping came naturally, part of who he was. He finished his pie in silence and left the restaurant with his head held high, not realizing that someone had recorded the whole scene with their cell phone. The next morning, Malik was woken up by incessant messages and notifications on his phone. He got up, confused, and saw a flood of messages and missed calls. The video of his fight with the bikers had been posted online and had already accumulated thousands of views. People were sharing and commenting on the diner hero boy. In the comments, Malik was praised for his bravery and skill but also for his humility. "We need more people like him," said one comment, with hundreds of likes. The sudden fame took Malik by surprise, but he knew he could use the attention for something bigger. That same day, he went to the community center where he worked as a volunteer, helping young people find purpose through sports, studies, and mentoring activities. When he got there, he was greeted with applause from the other volunteers and the children who looked up to him. "You're an inspiration to us all, Malik," said Mr. Henderson, the center director. "This video has shown the world what kind of leader you are." Malik smiled, a little embarrassed, but his expression soon turned serious. He knew that despite his fame, there was a bigger problem to be solved. The Iron Claws gang still posed a danger to the community, and he wanted to turn that moment into something meaningful. With the support of the community center and other community members, Malik began to organize an awareness campaign against violence and intimidation. He used his newfound popularity to attract attention to local causes, such as creating mentoring programs for at-risk youth. The community center began receiving donations from people touched by Malik's story. Meanwhile, Travis Cole, the gang leader, was watching the video in an abandoned garage. He was furious at the public humiliation, but he couldn't ignore Malik's skill and determination either. Something inside him began to change. He remembered when, years ago, he himself had dreamed of being someone better, before falling into the gang life. A week later, Travis showed up at the community center. He was alone, without his gang jacket, with an expression that mixed shame and determination. Malik saw him walk in and immediately went on alert. "I didn't come to fight, kid," said Travis, raising his hands in surrender. "I just want to talk." Malik took him to a quiet corner, away from prying eyes. Travis began to talk, hesitantly at first, but soon the words began to flow. He talked about how he had joined the gang, how he felt trapped in a cycle of violence, and how he wanted a different life for himself and the other members. "We started this all wrong. I don't want this path for my son," Travis admitted, pulling a crumpled photo out of his pocket. It was a boy of about 10, smiling. "He deserves better. I just don't know how to get out of it." Malik listened attentively, without interrupting. When Travis had finished, he put his hand on the man's shoulder and said, "Everyone deserves a second chance, Travis, and if you're willing to change, I'm going to help you." From that day on, Malik and Travis started working together. Travis convinced other gang members to give up their life of crime and join the community center. They started fixing bikes for children, helping with renovations, and even giving talks about the consequences of violence. The transformation was slow but real. Over time, the impact of this work began to be felt throughout the city. Young people who had previously been easy targets for gangs found in the community center a place where they were valued and supported. Former gang members became mentors, and the Iron Claws were officially disbanded, replaced by a group dedicated to community service. The restaurant video, which was initially just a symbol of individual courage, became the starting point for a community transformation. Journalists and filmmakers began visiting the town, wanting to understand how one teenager managed to lead such a significant change. One day, Malik was at the community center, organizing a soccer tournament for young people, when he was called to the makeshift stage. There stood Travis, Ruby, and Mr. Henderson, all with proud smiles. "Mal, you've started something here that none of us thought possible," said Henderson. "You've shown us that courage and leadership come from within, and for that, we want to honor you." They presented Malik with a plaque bearing his name and the words "Leader of Hope." Malik was moved, but instead of making a long speech, he just smiled and said, "This isn't about me. It's about all of us. It's about what we can do when we work together." That night, as Malik walked through the city, he noticed how everything had changed. The once dangerous streets were now full of playing children and laughing families. He knew there was still work to do, but he also knew that he had started something bigger than himself. And now I ask you, do you believe that small actions can lead to big changes? Share in the comments what you thought of this story and subscribe to Black Voices for more inspiring stories. Together, we can continue to spread messages of courage and hope. See you in the next video.